A bit like ease of doing business, no webinar or conversation would be complete without the topic of AI. But as I said earlier, if there was ever a fit for AI, then that's MDF automation or leveraging AI for MDF process automation because there are a lot of process steps. Most people's programs today have a lot of manual touch, whether that's approving a fund request, checking the proofs of performance, making payments, etc. And with anything that's process intense, there's generally creates bottlenecks. Um, so Louise, I'm going to turn this one over to you. I'd love to get your insights, on the topic, hear about what you see happening in the industry, with regards to AI being used, specifically for MDF, but generally the channel if you want to as well. Thanks, Louise.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, I don't think we don't seem to be able to do anything without AI now at them. It's taken over the world. But I think in this case, we absolutely can use, the power of AI to improve the process and the partner experience around MDF, and particularly, as we've touched upon, around the claims process and the proof of performance elements as well. The payment process, is super important. It's the end of the activity, and what you don't want to do is have a sour taste left in your partner's mouth if your payment process is clunky, if it takes too long, if you've got back and forth, which just delays the payment, and we've already referred to it this afternoon. So yeah, that slick payment process is really, really important just to round off the activity in a positive way, because when the partners invested the time and money in joint activity, they want to get paid quickly from you as a vendor. I think MDF claims and payments are often done badly, not intentionally, but they're often forgotten about. A lot of the focus is put on the actual activity itself, and all the preamble and all the prepping, and then the claim and the payment process is often just kind of left as an afterthought. Normally, manual processes. I'm sure most people on the call can agree with that one. And they take too long, and there's too much back and forth with requesting information from partners. So a very typical situation is the partner will complete the activity. They'll make a claim. The documents will be reviewed for the proof of performance and the invoices. There will be information that's missing, further details that are needed. The marketing team need to spend a lot of time going back and forth with the partner. You might need to liaise with finance, the sales team, and potentially operations as well. And an awful lot of the time, the marketing team of the vendor end up kind of being the conductor and trying to solve all the problems and be the project manager of the MDF claim, which is obviously, not what they should be doing with their time. And then if you throw into that managing multiple currencies and invoice for the actual mechanism of the payment, that also sometimes creates its own fun. So if you've got the option, to use a PRM platform that does have that inbuilt AI functionality that can automate the review process and the claims process, that can absolutely, make everybody's lives a lot easier as far as the MDF world is concerned. Obviously, the channel team would still have final approval, but by leveraging that intelligence, you can speed up the processes, make them massively less manual and labor intensive, and just take a lot of that legwork and that pain away from people who've got other things to be doing in their job. Because at the end of the day, efficiency in any form with partners and with the channel leads to increased partner satisfaction. But as I was preparing for this webinar, I was thinking as well, actually, it impacts from an ROI perspective, and not just the ROI from the actual MDF activity itself, but your ROI as a vendor, because your team's time spent processing MDF claims is a cost to the business. So if you can, massively reduce that, then from a business efficiency and a cost perspective, then you've done yourself a favor, because all that extra hidden cost will default add to the cost of the MDF activity itself, when you look at it longer term. And I think successful MDF programs need to be successful for everybody end to end, for the partner and the vendor. A successful MDF activity or program doesn't stop once the activity is completed. You need to follow through and actually finish the process and make sure that the entire experience from a partner perspective, has been frictionless and has been quick as well.
That's great, Louise. Thanks. Yeah, a lot in there. And as you said, I think it's, if there was ever an area made for AI, it's certainly that whole audit process. And I know it's something we've, as I said earlier, put a lot of work into our platform. And thankfully now customers are taking advantage of that. So if you think about, if you have any level of scale of an MDF program, you're probably processing hundreds of claims every month or every quarter. That, for the most part, still, that's a human doing that. And it's not the most exciting work in the world. It's important work, but that resource could be doing higher value work. Um, so, scanning in invoices, comparing them against the claims, was that what was funded, etc. And we see very high pass rates. You still kind of have a person overseeing it all, but what they're now overseeing is did AI process the claim successfully? You as a vendor might still have the final say to yes, I tick the box, I approve that payment, etc. So yeah, I don't know, Laura, Carlina, anything you wanted to chime in on the AI topic?
I think it goes back to our earlier topic of ease of doing business from a vendor perspective too, right? To Louise's point, that you want as minimal friction between, the entirety of the process to get there and to issue that credit and move on and use your resources elsewhere. So I do think, ensuring that the end-to-end process is easy, and some of the heavy lifting is off the plates of uh, the marketing managers, ops, sales, to ensure that we're removing those bottlenecks and issuing a credit correctly as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
And I would say expanding on, AI use cases beyond even claims processing, where you think of the whole MDF life cycle, um, using AI to predict which partners are going to utilize funds or recommend optimal activities for certain partners based on historical performance, or making sure that, when you're thinking about the campaigns that they're building, and if automation is built in there, then they can focus more on creating more campaigns, which ultimately drives more revenue. So it's about, more than just getting paid quick. It's about the ROI and customer satisfaction and being able to drive more and focus on the growth and take some of those manual tasks out.
Yep. Yeah, and it's not that those people go away. I would always say you just move those resources onto something
Mhm.
higher value. So, okay, we'll keep moving. Thanks very much, Louise. That's great insights. Really, really good.